August 31st, 2017. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 134 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, I want to thank you. What are you laughing at already?
You stressed gambler.
Well, I did pronounce it a little differently this time. I know there's a rhythm.
It's just a rhythm. I was like, gambler.
Right. I thought I got to mix it up. Otherwise, it sounds exactly the same. They're going to think, oh, it's just some recording that he just plays every time. Yeah.
No, you do that every time.
All right, good.
This time it was like different, and it gave me a chill for a second.
Nice.
Like,
all right.
We're gamblers.
Yeah. We're off to a good start. Hey, I do want to thank you, though, for paying for the fight. Dr. Mike,
no problem.
The day of, called me and said, hey, are you interested in seeing the fight? And I said, well, I guess so. Why? I thought maybe you knew somebody who was going to get it, or you wanted to go to a bar or something like that. But you decided, it's a big spectacle.
I want to see the spectacle.
Yeah.
I didn't really care. I mean, I couldn't care less who won.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see the spectacle of it all and see how big an asses they made out of themselves.
Yeah.
Which I think they did a good job of that.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good fight, don't you think?
No, the fight was actually pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Mayweather had great strategy.
Yeah, and we talked about it afterwards. I'm not a boxing fan, but I know enough that a good strategy, especially with somebody who's not used to fighting as long as an MMA fighter, is to just let himself wear himself out.
Yeah, when he got to the fifth round, then that's the most he's ever fought, right? 15 minutes. So after that, it's like a new experience, and I know they're in perfect shape, and there's
of course.
zero fat on them, and they train really good, but it's hard.
Oh yeah,
like I was telling you. I mean, I tried once hitting just a punching bag for 3 minutes,
right? Where you don't have somebody punching back.
Nobody's punching back. Nobody's hitting my arms or my chest or anything.
Yeah.
Just 3 minutes, and your arms feel like they're lead.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's great that guys can actually do that.
Yeah.
But he had a great strategy, and that's why he won.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wore him down. At the end, he was just able to pummel him. They had to stop it.
Yeah.
But it was a good fight.
I thought it was a good fight, and I thought they were very gracious at the end. For two guys that have big egos, I thought they handled themselves very well.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a great thing. It's not just good, it's great, because it'd be easy to say, some excuse why you lost. They both just said, he's better tonight. Yeah. He's a good fighter.
Right. And, with Mayweather winning, it's like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
No rematch. No. All right. Yeah. Gave it a shot. It was interesting.
The boxer won the boxing match.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. The professional boxer won the boxing
match. Now, what were you telling me about how you had read where the money and the betting was coming in before the fight?
Okay. So, before the fight, I'm looking on my phone, and it had 30 things you should know about this fight.
Okay.
And one of them said that 92% of all tickets written were wagers on McGregor.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that only leaves 8% of the people who actually
of the tickets,
made a bet.
Right.
Yeah. Were betting on Mayweather.
Yeah.
But 79% of total money wagered was on Mayweather.
Okay.
And,
all right.
and only 21% on McGregor.
Okay.
So basically everyone with a little bit of money.
Yes, and that's kind of what we talked about when the line was first coming out, is that people who don't make wagers very often for a spectacle like that, and when they see what the odds are, I'm not going to bet on Mayweather. I don't want to, risk $1,000 to win $10 or whatever it was initially. Yeah, I want to bet, the underdog.
So they bet the underdog, but the
smart money
was all on Mayweather, which... I said from the beginning, a boxer's going to win the boxing match. Now, they fought tomorrow and they have an MMA fight. McGregor's going to win easily, right? He tried to do he was doing that hammer punch.
Oh, yeah, for like the,
And, it would be hard because when you're in the clinch there, he just reverts to what he does.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Without even thinking, it's like, we're clinched. I'm going to hit him on the top of the head, right?
It's funny, Mike, because as we were watching the fight, we were both talking about how lucky we are to live on the West Coast, because when the fight went off, it's after 9 o'clock our time. We're thinking that's after midnight on the East Coast. And I know people get together and have parties, and I know it's a Saturday night.
Right.
But after midnight to watch an event
at my age, midnight on a Saturday, is like 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, right? I'm ready for bed.
Right. Unless you're in a casino, and then you're ready to go for at least another 6 hours.
Then you just started.
Yeah, right. No, I understand that.
What I found interesting about the fight, the most interesting thing is the very next day, your wife said to me that she enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny.
She said, I didn't think I would, but I did kind of enjoy that.
And, when you first called to invite us over, I said, okay, I'll check with Sherry and the kids, thinking, are they going to be interested? And she said, Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. It's like, great.
Yeah. Well, it was a spectacle thing.
Yeah, it was a spectacle.
Obviously not a boxer. My wife's the same way. She doesn't watch boxing because she doesn't like the brutality of it, right? But for that, she kind of wanted to see what was going to happen.
Yeah, it was an event. It transcended it was boxing.
Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King.
Yeah. Right. Yes. All right, we've got some news. This is actually old news. We had to record our last episode a little early because you went on vacation.
Right.
So this news actually came out after we had recorded, but before we had posted our last episode.
Oh, okay.
And
it was like a 4-day lag.
Yeah, the Cromwell had announced that they are incorporating some good rules for gamblers to go along with their 100 times odds and their bank of full-pay video poker machines. They've introduced a single zero roulette wheel, which is nice. That's nice, especially when, the Venetian is introducing a 000. Right. It's nice that at least one casino is going back.
Isn't that crazy? Why wouldn't every casino do that?
Well, it's nice that at least a strip casino is doing this. Right. Now, my understanding is this is a $25 table. So I think they still do have some 00 roulette tables there, but this one's $25. But that's good. And they've got 3-2 blackjack. They have double deck that is $25 and over, and then they've got multi-deck. We've heard reports of $10 and $15,
and still 3-2.
3-2, yeah. And
so is the whole casino 3-2?
I don't know about that, but we have said in the past you're much better off playing a multi-deck 3-2 than a single deck 6-5.
Right.
So at least this is good news. Yeah. Also, they put in a sports book. They didn't have a sports book there before,
which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little small one apparently, but at least they have something in there.
It's not that big a casino, but whenever you think a casino, you think a sports book.
Yeah.
Certain things, and people always talk like a real casino has, and we're like at Rincon, we don't have any of that. Like real dice and this and that. Right. But for me too, I always think they always have a poker room and a sports book.
Yeah, that really, and Keno. That's Keno. What I would say.
Yeah.
Is that
and Keno. I mean, I used to think that there's so little Keno lounges
now. It's hard
now.
to find. It's so funny because I ran into Larry at work today, just walking through the hallway, and he went to Vegas this last weekend. He was saying, "Yeah, I went to the Cromwell. Why don't I always go there?" Because he had a good run at the craps table. He won quite a bit, and he was able to get his odds up to, I don't know if it was 100 times, but he's saying, I listen to your show, I listen to other podcasts, they're all talking about how great the Cromwell is, and it's just gone in one ear and out the other. Why don't I go there all the time? So he's a convert, at least.
Yeah, well, Larry, here's the reason. Because you're like us. We get there, and then it's like everything's on the fly.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, there's a craps table right there. Let's play.
Let's just play right there.
Yeah.
And we never Cromwell, it's across the street. I don't know about crossing the street right now. And that's us. And we get there when we get there, right?
Yeah.
We should be there all the time.
Yeah. Well, as we said, we're definitely pro Cromwell, even though we had a bad experience last time we were there.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's an aberration.
I'm hoping that's a fluke. Yeah. So, all right, we got an email from Ethan. I'll just read it here. I know you've talked a lot about how every losing streak will turn around, but I've had a pretty rough summer of gambling, and I'm headed to Vegas for fun, then a work trip. My bankroll is the largest I've ever taken to Vegas, and I will be financially fine even if I lose it. But because things have been so rough, I'm not as excited about Vegas as I usually am. How do you psych yourself up to have a good, fun, and exciting time in Vegas? That's a really good question.
Yes.
I don't think, and it's funny because we've had a bit of a rough streak here too.
This last month or so has been rough.
Yeah. And we do say, these streaks do eventually turn around, but they can go on for a long, long time. You just
why
never
is
know.
it the losing streaks are always longer than the winning streaks?
That's right. So our advice to you, and this is really not going to help you, I'm afraid, Ethan, is to just step away from a little while, take a break. Now, obviously, you've got a Vegas trip coming up, so you can't do that. But
you can from the time he wrote this till he leaves for Vegas.
Just don't play at all.
I mean, and we're talking about that, right? Because we're going in October, so we're thinking, well, September is going to be a light month for us.
Yes.
We may not go, we go every week usually, and we may not go every week this month.
Yeah, you're right.
We're talking about several weeks that we're just going to skip. So that when October comes, number one, we'll have a little bigger bankroll, and number two, we'll be anxious
We'll be excited to go.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of different hobbies. I mean, our hobby is definitely unique in that it can result in losing a lot of money. But just say you're a golfer. Golfing's your hobby, right? And for the last 3 weekends, you've just shot terrible, right? It's just been awful.
Yeah.
And you're frustrated by it. And, you're not as excited about it. Take a break off, right? Eventually you're going to
miss it a week, and then you go back and you have a good round, then you're ready to go again.
Exactly. So
well, and with gambling, because there is financial aspects to it. It's not just your
enjoyment or
your self-worth or something. I mean, you actually can lose money that affects your lives in other ways. It probably is a really good idea to take some time off,
definitely,
right? To build your bankroll up. Yeah. Now, going to Vegas with your biggest bankroll ever, I applaud.
That's enough to get you excited there.
That alone is enough to get you excited, because you know what? You're going to turn that biggest bankroll into like your biggest stash ever, right?
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Maybe the advice should be play really small when you go to Vegas, right? If it's been that bad and you want to get excited, instead think, hey, I've got more money than I've ever taken to Vegas before. I'm going to play a lot smaller than I usually do. So no matter what, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that's my theory. Like when we're losing out at Harris Rincon, I say, oh, you want to see it 5 points made? I'll just go down to $10 on the line.
That's right.
You know, I'll go from 75 to 10. I go to 10. The next shooter guaranteed to make like 5 points.
Right, and then you go up to 75, and it's immediate 7 out. Yeah, it's just math.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to figure out how to get things going your way. Just go down to your lowest possible limit.
That's right.
Play your most dull, boring way.
And even if you're winning and you're supposed to be happy, you're actually angry because you didn't bet more.
Right.
That's
exactly. Right. That'll make for a good trip.
Yeah, that'll be a very good trip. Yeah. And then the trip turns into a work trip.
Right.
So then afterwards, it's like...
hopefully he likes his job. He didn't say anything about that.
That's true, yeah.
If he likes his job, that's good.
That might work too. Oh, we got another email. This one from Josh. I'm going to read it here. Mark, I know you often play pass line and 2 come bets, but 2 of your biggest wins have come when you were pressing place bets or buy bets. What dictates when you place/buy numbers versus playing come bets with odds? And when you are putting out place/buy bets, do you have a set strategy for when you press and how much? Would love to hear from both of you on this. Looking forward to seeing you both again at the summit.
I'll tell you what, this answer is so easy.
Okay, you're going to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now for both of us.
Okay.
Bankroll.
That is a lot of it.
That is like 80% of it, right?
But I mean, the thing is, though, you almost always place.
Yeah, I almost always place.
Right, and I'm a come better.
And you're a come better.
Yeah.
But we both switch based on our bankroll. So when your bankroll gets higher and we're having a good run, boy, those come bets come down quick and you get place bets
up
there.
I haven't thought about that, but you're right, Mike. When I have a bigger bankroll, I'm placing numbers.
You're placing them all. I've noticed that all the time.
No, you're right.
Way more aggressive and you're way more willing to press bets versus just collect.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I'm basically the same way, but I'll start with place bets, but I'll collect a lot. And then if my bankroll gets up or we're on a good roll, then I press like crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with simply our bankroll at the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. So. Now, sort of related to bankroll too, if we're playing at a $25 table, which is a little high for me, I'm not making pass line and come bets with odds. I am making place bets.
Because you're not going to be able to take the full odds. Your bankroll won't cover that. Yeah. So you alter the way you play so that you're playing to your bankroll.
Yeah.
Which is probably good advice, right? I mean, isn't that what we kind of always said?
Oh, yeah.
You've got to live within your bankroll.
Definitely.
So you alter the way you play based on that.
I will say this. Let's say I am at a table and I am making come bets. And I, pass line and 2 come bets. And the roll starts getting really good and I'm collecting. Then I'll think, all right, I'm going to make an additional come bet so that I have 3 come bets. And if it's still getting good, then I'll make a come bet every time. And then if it's still really good, I'm deciding, okay, I want to increase my bet, but I don't want to make it all that complicated for me or the dealer. It's like, okay, I'm increasing my come bet, and then the number, I'm not off and on and anymore. Then I'm thinking, I'm just going to convert to place bets. Just to kind of make it easier. And that's when I do it. Now, as far as pressing goes, if I'm just making place bets to begin with, I won't start pressing until I've at least made all my money back on a shooter. Plus that times 2, maybe something like that.
Or depending on what you were down or up before the roll started.
Bankroll,
because if you were way down before that roll started, you'll still keep collecting.
That's true.
Even though you're winning for the roll, you're collecting because you're trying to get back the money you lost previous shooters.
You're right. If I look down at my stack and I see my buy-in in front of me, then it's like, okay, I'll start pressing.
Yeah, then you feel more comfortable. Or if that roll came on the first shooter and you haven't lost anything, and all of a sudden you've got everything you put into this shooter back and you've made a little more, then it's like, I'm going for it, right? So, I mean, to me, it's bankroll.
Yeah, you make a good point. Now, I do want to emphasize that it never really makes sense ever to press. Certainly doesn't make sense mathematically. You're just putting more money into a negative EV game.
Right.
So we're not suggesting this. We're not recommending this necessarily, but this is what we do.
Yeah. Well, it's what we do because, we get the thrill out of getting on the big rolls.
Sure. Yeah. That's one of the reasons we play craps.
I mean, seriously, if somebody told me today, look, Mike, the rest of your life, there's never going to be a big roll. You're never going to have a guy shoot 30 rolls or 40 rolls or 50 rolls or something like that. I probably would never play craps again.
Yeah, right.
See, I'd be at the pie gow table.
Exactly.
Daisuing with somebody or something. I'm there for the thrill of that huge roll when we get our 4 to the max.
Yes, I know. And then
remember that feeling?
Oh, there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like that.
And I would and it's of course I would never have gone up to a table and said, "Give me a $5,000 4." Right. But when you press it up there, it's a different feeling. It doesn't make sense.
Walking up to a table and taking a $5,000 4, that's lottery winner money for us.
Yeah, right.
That's when we win the lottery.
That's right. Yeah, that's fun. Well, I'm glad you brought up Pie Gow Poker because it reminded me this last weekend. When we were done playing and you were out,
so miserable.
You were getting your food or something. I said, "All right, I'm going to go just play some Pie Gow Poker." I got Jackson 4s, Jackson 9s. At one point, I had trip aces and a pair of 9s. I didn't win a single hand.
You had 4 hands in a row that were better than pair.
Pair or better. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you didn't win any.
I didn't win a single hand. Either she would have a higher pair, or she'd have a straight, with no head. And
she had a flush with no head.
It was
I came back. I've got all this food in my hand. I walk up the table. I'm carrying all this food, right? My dad's heading to the elevator. And, I'm thinking, what is Mark doing? I mean, we've got our butts kicked here tonight. Why is he betting this? And I walk over there and I'm thinking, well, it's Pie Gow. He's
how bad can it be? Right?
Can it be? He looks at me. I haven't won a hand yet. I'm like, what?
And I never had a bad hand. Right. I never had just ace high and like, oh well, I'll lose this one. I had a hand with potential every time.
Well, seriously, if you told me you had pair better on every hand. I'm thinking you maybe lost one hand.
Yeah, right. And you maybe push in and then win like 3 of them for them.
Yeah. I mean, 75% I'd expect to be winners, right?
Yeah, oh my God. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, we got a lot of phone calls. Remember, call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS.
951-2-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First off, let's hear from Jeremy.
Hey guys, I'm kind of a new listener, but I just love your show and I'm currently working my way through your back catalog. Anyway, I'm a huge fan of craps like you guys and wondered if you had seen this article about the decline of table games. The article was primarily about the huge decline of blackjack over the last 30 years, but this research paper by UNLV showed how craps used to hold a strong second place to blackjack in terms of a moneymaker for casinos. But now craps is actually in last place behind roulette and baccarat, which have actually grown in the last 10 years. Anyway, I'd just be curious to hear your general thoughts on the state of craps and if we should worry about it ever disappearing. I'll email you the article, and thank you guys. Again, love the show. Keep it up.
Yeah, this has been a trend that's been going on for some time now. It used to be in the olden days.
I'd say
nobody played slots, right? It was all table games, and slots were like a secondary.
I'd say the last 20 years, it's slowly declining.
Maybe even more than that, Mike. Yeah. Starting in the 70s with slot machines and that kind of thing. And the trend may continue. Now, specifically about craps, are we worried about it going away? No, it's going to be around, at least for our lifetime.
Yeah, I hope.
But, everything goes through stages, and maybe eventually, years from now, it will completely disappear. And
well, what would you say is the number one reason that craps or other table games have declined?
I mean, I'm just guessing here, but it would be because there's a social element to these table games. You're dealing with other people at the table, and maybe people are just uncomfortable.
You think people aren't as social as they used to be? They don't want to associate with other people? They'd rather be in a machine by themselves?
It could be, and I don't want to sound like somebody who's pining for the good old days, because I think we're in the good old days right now, but there's definitely a different way that people interact with each other.
Yeah. Now I'll agree with that. I mean, it's the whole computer age, right? I mean, people don't talk much anymore. They text.
It's different. Sure.
Right. It's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
That probably has a lot to do with it. I was thinking also that with slot machines, I mean, if we go back to when we first started gambling, over 30 some years ago, slot machines were pretty much all the same.
Yeah, they were all real slot machines.
They were all real slot machines. You know, you had sevens, cherries, you know, every once in a while. Single line. Every once in a while, somebody would come out with something. Now they're way more interactive. And so I think for a person who's just starting to gamble, they see that and they see, you know, multiple lines and all this craziness going on, and they're all themed, you know. And I think that draws people there, and they just don't ever get to craps. And craps has a reputation of being a little harder.
Right, a little more complicated.
I don't think it is.
Well, you know, you can learn the basics pretty quickly, but it can be intimidating.
I mean, but, you know, they'll play blackjack because, you know, you learned that when you were in third grade, right? Dealing to your sister. But you don't really learn craps.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's part of the craps decline.
Yeah, it could be.
Baccaras probably because, you know, everyone thinks that's the best way to make money.
Well, you know, it's where the big money always goes, right? And so it's got a reputation for being for high rollers. I'm not worried only because I don't feel like I need to do anything. Right. You know, I'm just going to let the world kind of go the way that it goes.
I certainly wouldn't worry about
I've got bigger battles to fight than making sure that craps is around, you know, for my great-great-grandchildren.
Worst thing comes to worst, we just go underground and have illegal craps games.
Yeah, that'll be the worst case situation. Yeah, and that might happen. And
when the apocalypse happens, that's what we're going to be doing.
We'll just have a big semi floating craps game.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of trends, so look at the poker trend. Right.
Sure.
A few years ago, poker was the thing, right?
Yes.
Everybody. I mean, I can't tell you how many patients I would have. I'd walk into the room and they were reading books on poker strategy. I mean, seriously, once or twice a week, I'd come in, and sometimes women, sometimes men, but it just all across all age groups, both sexes, it'd be like they're learning to play Texas Hold'em.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to make money playing Texas Hold'em, especially when online stuff was still going on.
Right.
And then when that kind of died and online went away and everything, I don't see any. I haven't seen any in the last several years.
You're right. It started with Chris Moneymaker winning the World Series, and it was also the hole card cams. They came around about the same time, and so then it blew up.
Right.
And you're right, you could play online. So everybody's playing.
Right.
Then when online poker went away from the United States at least, and people who got into it and lost their money, because, you know, with poker, you have to have people lose money to make money at poker, right?
Yeah, the good players are going to win and the bad players are going to lose.
Right, so the bad players came in, they lost their money, online poker went away, and so now it's leveled off again. So you can really follow why that happened.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just trends in society,
it's trends.
right? It's the way it goes. Yeah. My wife had an aunt who was big playing online, you know, and not big money. She was like you, she's playing like nickels and dimes, right? Online, and then online went away, and then she has no interest now.
Yeah, right.
She still listens to our show.
Oh, that's nice. That's good.
But she has no interest in playing poker.
Yeah,
because online went away.
There are plenty of people who only played online and don't have a weekly game like we do. You know, don't have friends who are still really into it and want to play.
Well, I mean, that's something you have to actually go out of your way to do.
Yeah,
to set up a weekly game, to have people come over, to run it and everything. Most people have, like every 6 months, we have a poker night.
Yeah. It's the difference between a hobby and a fad. And a lot of people were in poker as the fad.
Yeah.
And the people who stuck around are the ones who really enjoy it, and it's a hobby for them.
And that, to me, is the difference between poker and like craps. Craps isn't a fad.
Right, that's true.
It never has been, I don't think.
Right, no.
It's a game that appeals to a certain group of people because, I mean, for you and I think we like the math and we like the challenge of it and trying to figure out a way that's gonna. I mean, there's no system.
No, but we like the idea that when you're in a hot roll, that can go on for an hour where nobody's losing any money. Everybody's winning, and there's no other, at least game in a casino where that's happening.
You said at a poker table, one guy's going to win that hand.
Right.
You said at a blackjack table, you know, you could have 5 guys, 4 people could lose, 1 guy could win, or you all lose, the dealer. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios. Craps is the only game where we all can kind of win together. And kind of lose together.
Yeah,
I mean, you can even have a don't guy on your table, and there's rolls where him and I can both win.
You're not going to be at a blackjack table where nobody loses for an hour.
Right. No, you're not. Yeah. And you're going to be at very few blackjack tables unless you're with your buddies where people are high-fiving each other.
Yeah, right, where you're winning and losing together.
You're sitting next to a stranger, you don't like, you know, oh yeah, baby, you know. I mean, that happens at craps all the time.
No, you're right. I see what you're saying. So. Yeah, definitely. All right, next call.
Hey, gentlemen. This is Dan from Northern California with a sort of late trip report. Back around Memorial Day, my wife and I took an Alaskan cruise with Holland America Lines. There was a small casino on board. We took advantage of the opportunity to play several times. They had a couple dozen slot machines, a few table games, and of course craps. I was mostly interested in craps, so I was curious to see how often the table would be open. It seemed that whenever the casino was open, a stick person stood at the table. If I approached the table and indicated I wanted to play, they would signal the crew, and immediately the table was staffed. Well, there were two things about our experience I wanted to share with you. First, as you know, on a cruise, your key card is used for all of the onboard purchases, and cash is not. We were told by a representative of the cruise line before we left that would also apply in the casino. Once there, the casino staff told us, of course, they would accept cash, but we hadn't brought any. Our key cards allowed for up to $2,000 per day without applying for casino credit, and more if we did, but that was more than enough for us. But we also were charged 3% for the privilege of drawing money off the cards. My other observation was that these were the fastest craps dealers I'd ever seen. As soon as a point was established, they would place my bets using house money, and the dice would be in front of me before I could even count out my chips. They were very friendly and very helpful, and they really kept the game moving. We only saw a few other people play that week, so mostly it was just us. The host wanted to comp us dinner in one of the premium restaurants on the last night, but we already had plans, so he just gave us a nice bottle of wine. Well, it was a good time, and we enjoyed it. We really enjoy the podcast, guys, and we thank you very much. And hopefully, we will be able to meet up with you someday. Goodbye.
I love the idea of the dealers setting up your bets ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I know he goes 52 across every time, so I'm going to get that set up.
Right.
Now, I imagine there are some casinos that just would not go for that. The eye in the sky is like, where's that money coming from?
Yeah, freak them out. Some casinos had freak them out.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is Dan's experience, I mean, it's a great experience, but I bet that is not the case on most cruise ships.
I think you're right.
I mean, I've only had limited experience, but the dealers in the casino, whether they're craps or blackjack or whatever, also work on the cruise ship in other venues. So they're not just dealers who just sit and wait until we're out at sea and the craps table opens. Mm-hmm. Because when I was on the cruise, the dealer, you know, the next day he's like serving breakfast in the cafeteria.
Oh, okay, I got you.
and then he's out by the pool when you're in your dock somewhere and people are staying in the pool. He's serving drinks at the pool. Yeah. And then that night he's your craps dealer.
Yeah, right. Okay, so, I got you.
So it's not like they're only dealers like you would see in a casino, and they're so, you know, I think these guys are trained, obviously, to be dealers, but that isn't their only job. So their experience level is probably not super great.
Yeah.
Now, he happened to catch some great dealers.
Yeah, that is good.
Who knew what they were doing.
Boy, it is a shame that he was told ahead of time that they wouldn't take cash at the casino, because a 3% charge, that's rough.
Pretty steep.
Yeah. Again, we can't speak for all cruise lines, but you might want to look into that before you go on a cruise is, hey, can I just take cash to play in the casino?
I think we were on Holland America and I took cash. Yeah. I didn't even ask.
Sure, you wouldn't even think I would,
in a casino I could use cash. And you could use cash. Okay. And it was actually cheaper for me to get it out of my ATM than it was to use my key card.
Really?
So,
now, you probably didn't play any slots on board, but I'm sure it's ticket in, ticket out on cruise ships too,
I would
right? So
now it has
you would
to
think
be,
that they would take cash, right? You know,
right? They'd have to, right? To take it in the machine.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from Ryan.
Hey guys, Ryan from Ontario, California here. Headed back from Vegas right now. I was just there, not actually for the fight, but during the Mayweather-McGregor fight. I was actually at a concert during it, but got to stream the fight on my phone, so that was kind of cool. I was actually at the Hard Rock for this, and found out a couple things playing there. It was kind of cool. I guess on Friday and Saturday nights, they changed their 6 to 5 blackjack tables to 3 to 2. So if you're going to play at the Hard Rock, play there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because they changed those tables. Actually ran into a problem on the craps table there, not with any of the dealers. It's actually with another player. I was playing with this guy, and I don't know, it was about maybe 10 to 11 rolls in. I was having a mediocre roll, and I finally 7 out, and the guy goes, "Oh my God," and he backs away from the table and says, "I knew you were going to roll a 7 on that because the dice facing me was a 6 and a 1. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I knew it in my heart, 100% you were going to roll that. I knew it 100%. And I said, well, if you really knew what it was going to be, why didn't you pull your money off the table? You have over $100. He's like, oh, because it had a chance of not being that. And I said, there's always a chance of not being that. Anyways, I just thought it was funny to encounter something like that. But overall, I had a pretty good trip. Up right now, I'm actually about 5 minutes from passing through State Line Buffalo Bills. Believe it or not, I'm going to stop in like I always do and see if I can either double my money or go home even. But I'll give you a call after I leave there. Thanks a lot, guys.
I love when somebody says 100%, positive, 100%. Well, why'd you take? Well, because there was a chance it could. Well, then that's not 100%. You know, right. I take things literally. You'll be at the table too, and you'll say the same thing. I knew that was going to happen. I'll say, I'll answer you. Well, Mike, then why didn't you call all your bets off?
Because I never do. Although, you know what's funny is, so this Saturday you did not go up to the casino,
right?
We went Friday.
Yes.
And I went up there Saturday to get some free play.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Right.
And I played a little. Well, I had to actually let some neighbors into a concert.
Yeah, right.
And so I let them in the concert. Then I was there for a little bit. I got some free play. I played. I turned my bets off on a stick change.
Okay.
Because it had been a very good roll. And I had a lot of things pressed. And I had 3 of my 4 hard ways up to $100. And then the stick changed. Mm-hmm. And I thought, now if Mark's here, he's turning everything off. So I did. Mm-hmm. And I picked up my odds.
Right.
I told him everything else
is off. Yeah.
I did give him $10 to hop the hard 6, hard 8, and hard 4, the ones
working.
I had pressed.
Okay.
Working. My all days were off, but the hoppers were on because I thought if a hard 6 comes up, I'm going to be so pissed off.
All right. Yes.
So at least I would have won a little bit of money, $300.
All right. Get to the punchline.
Well, the punchline is the guy rolled the 6.
Oh.
Okay. And it was easy, so I didn't win my hopper. I just lost the $300 I had on 6, which would have paid $350. And then
you didn't lose.
Well,
you didn't
I didn't
lose
collect.
it. You're right on your place bet. I want to make sure we're clear on what this was.
I didn't collect my
very
place
convoluted
bet.
story. Basically, the story is you never call your bets off. But this last Saturday, when I wasn't there, you were by yourself. There was a stick change. You called your bets off.
I called them off once.
All right.
And I looked at the dealer and I said, "This is for Mark since he's not here." I missed that 6.
Yeah.
The next roll was like a 9. The next roll was 7 out.
Okay. Yeah, so you missed it by a couple of rolls. So I don't know how businesses work, and maybe I'm wrong. It would seem to me the Hard Rock, if they're going to change their tables at all, they change them to 6 to 5 on the weekends when they're crowded, and then have it 3 to 2 all the rest of the time.
You would think that.
But I mean, this is good news. Like you said, if you're there, try to go there on the weekend because then it's 3 to 2 tables.
I guess there's some business sense to that because maybe they want to draw people from other casinos on the busy nights. On the
busy ones, yeah. So maybe I don't know who's making those decisions. Do you want to find out how Ryan did at State Line?
Yeah, why not? Because usually State Line is your comeback place.
Yeah, that's right.
For us, it's always been like comeback.
He was ahead heading to State Line. He was ahead at this point.
I've never been to State Line when I'm ahead. If I'm ahead, I'm going home.
All right.
When I'm behind, I'm stopping to recoup.
All right. Well, you're going to have to wait because I'm going to play his follow-up call later.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Next call.
Hi, guys. Love the show. This is Sam. I am in South Florida. I'm just fascinated by all the offers from the casinos, and I'd like to hear what the zaniest, wildest offers were for you and your listeners. I had a friend that was offered a recliner, of course, necklaces and bracelets and money. I would just like to really just dedicate a whole show to what offers casinos have. I'd like to listen to y'all open up your postcards or your mail and say, oh, look what I got. Oh, look what I got. Not trying to outdo one another, because, of course, we know no one can outdo the doctor. But anyway, love you guys. Thanks.
I always think, whenever I hear, what's an interesting comp, I just think about the Pepsi they gave away that one time.
This is so easy to quit. A 6-pack
Was
of
it a
Pepsi.
6-pack or a 12-pack?
No,
Either way,
it's a 6-pack. It's a 6-pack of Pepsi.
And they sent flyers in the mail to tell you about
Remember we talked about this. Yeah, the flyer probably costs more than the 6-pack. I mean, the postage rate probably costs more than the 6-pack of Pepsi.
We always go back to that. As far as other crazy ones, I don't know. They give away all sorts of stuff.
Hey, there's one this weekend.
Okay.
At Hollywood Casino here by us, right? It says, I love this. There's no picture. Okay, so you don't know what it really is.
Yeah.
It says old-fashioned traditional popcorn popper.
Okay,
so now for me, in my mind, when I was a kid, old-fashioned traditional popcorn popper, my mom would put an iron cast skillet on the thing,
right?
Little butter, a little popcorn, and a lid.
Yes.
And then it would pop. So evidently I'm getting a skillet.
It could be. It could be, right?
Just, that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe that's what it'll be. Popcorn and butter not included.
Popcorn and butter not, just a skillet.
Yeah. I wonder what it will be. Is it going to be like a little display like you'd see at a carnival or something? Or is it going to be an air popper?
No, it's not going to be an air popper. Okay. That's too new. I think it's going to be just one of those old ones where you put some... it's just a little.
You know what it's going to be, Mike?
Dome on it.
You know what it's going to be, and we have one of these. It's like a big metal pot, and you put the popcorn in the oil and everything. You close it, and then there's a crank on it.
There's a crank thing.
Yeah, I bet that's what it's going to be.
That might be what it is. Yeah, that could be. There's no picture, right?
So you don't know. Yeah.
What is this? Hollywood Casino out here. Now you'll see this tonight after we're done recording this. I'm going to show you my list.
Okay.
They're having every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday for the next month. They have some giveaway.
Okay.
And they're different times. Yeah. That's what I hate. It's not like 8 a.m. to midnight or something. One of them's like 3 to 6, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
I'll tell you,
it's weird.
The giveaways that I've gone to Hollywood to get have all been real crappy. I mean, they seem good, and then I've gotten them home, and they're really cheap. Like a Bluetooth speaker, it was terrible.
Oh, okay.
And, just all sorts of things. Oh, headphones, it just...
I went out there to get the GoPro camera.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually the GoPro brand.
It wasn't the brand, but it was like
a GoPro camera. Yeah. We got that home, and my wife and I both could not figure it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're like, what the hell is this thing? Yeah. So, it was some knockoff brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, they haven't been too good. Yeah. So
just give us cash or free play.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Well, half of the things I have are like $30 free play or something. So that I have no problem with that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next call from Matt.
Hi, this is Matt from Chicagoland. I was listening to your last podcast and talking about tipping the dealers and them looking out for you. I have an experience I wanted to share with you and your listeners. I was in Joliet, Hollywood Casino in Joliet, that's South Chicagoland there, playing craps, and I always tip the dealers on the pass line, and when I establish a point, I always do a hard way for myself and for the dealers. I do a nickel for myself and a single for the dealers, plus on the pass line, I take odds for myself and the dealers. Usually I'm playing dollars for the dealers, so if I bet 2 reds on the odds for myself, I'll put 2 whites down for the dealers on the odds line, dollar bet for them. And that's how I do it. I don't bet for them every pass line, every other, or every third one, depending how I'm winning. But I was going back from the pass line to the don't pass, and I was place bet 6 and 8. So I screwed up. My fault. I was towards the end of an 800-mile motorcycle trip. I got up both days at 3 a.m., so I was pretty tired. I was about 50 miles from home. So I do not blame them. I blame myself that I had $12 on the pass line for a point of 6 instead of $10 on the pass line. But what kind of got me a little bit was that the guy next to me pointed it out to the stick man and said, "Hey, he's betting wrong." And the stick man looked at the guy and said, "Oh, no, that's his lucky 2 singles there." And then the shooter 7'd out. So I lost an extra $2. Well, the guy who pointed it out was mad. And he was a guy that had a marker for 350. They all knew him, but he was mad yelling at him and everything. And I figured, it was only $2. It was my fault. But on the other hand, they weren't looking out for me, and so I stopped betting for them. I just bet for myself the rest of the night. So they didn't help me out. They weren't getting any more tokes for me. Thanks, guys. And, Mark, I've done the math on the hard ways. You're completely wrong. They work out. It's a good bet, everybody. Hard ways are a good bet.
I'm going to have to redo the math on that.
Redo the math.
Wow.
Yeah, I think See, I've been telling you that for years.
Yeah, maybe I've been missing out all this time.
I think you're missing out on the math.
Wow. I may just
There's probably some factor in there that you haven't taken into consideration.
It could be.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, see if you can come up with it and tell me after the show, and I'll incorporate it into my big spreadsheet. Yeah. Well,
I'll tell you what the factor is. The factor is the big sack between your legs. You got to multiply by that.
Oh, we were watching the fight the other night. Who came out? What was it?
McGregor, the way he walked.
Oh, the way he was walking. It was like he had a big sack.
With his hand. My wife said, "Looks like he's got a big sack between his legs."
All right. So I guess I better start betting hard ways for a lot of reasons.
A lot of reasons.
Yeah. Dealers, I don't know. Everybody's going to tip how they want to. We give the dealers the benefit of the doubt to begin with, but if
there are some things that I find real egregious, me personally, and then I won't tip.
Yeah.
You know what they are.
Yeah.
But if it's not that and it's maybe a small mistake or something, I tip the same way.
Yeah, it depends on what how they're treating you.
Right.
Are you a nuisance to them? Have they thanked you for that? I mean, we've been to places where, you start tipping right away to kind of, grease the wheels and they don't thank you at all.
Yeah,
and so
courtesy is a big thing for us.
Part
I mean, guy gives you a tip, you just say thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here's a good tipping experience.
Hey, hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Patrick from D.C. calling again. I didn't think I'd be calling back so soon, but an amazing event happened at the craps table just last weekend. I was playing at the MGM. Here the table was going well with a number of shooters, and I was tipping the dealers on almost every come-out roll, usually placing a $5 odds bet for them. And they were winning many times. When it came to my turn to shoot, one of the dice simply fell out of my hands, and the other dice shot across the table. I've seen this in the past, and it's always been called an O roll. The one that fell below me turned out to be a 3, and the one I shot across the table was a 4. In this case, the dealers just kind of paused. They all looked at each other, and the box man just said, 7, pay the line. So I got paid my pass line bet. If this had been December, I would have called it a Christmas miracle, because the same thing happened to another shooter later, and it was called an O roll then. I know Dr. Mike tips the dealers. Dr. Mike, have you ever experienced such an unusual event that you could attribute to tipping the dealers? Be interested to know that. Otherwise, hey, love the show, guys. Keep it going.
Yeah, I think that's happened to us quite a few times. Mm-hmm. Well, I know for us personally, when we're tipping the dealer, especially the ones that we play with regularly, we've had a lot of instances of...
Well, maybe we talked about it before. It's like, I should have picked up your pass line bet from, 2 rolls ago. I forgot it was at I'm not going to go back now. Or,
They don't ask you for the money back.
Yeah,
they catch a mistake.
Little things like that.
And they don't ask you for the money back. Yeah. Or, I hate to say this, but sometimes it seems like you lose a bet and they don't collect it and it just sits out there and plays again. And I'm always thinking, how did they miss that?
Yeah.
And so you kind of in your head, you wonder, well, did you just miss it on purpose because you're having a rough night?
Probably not. Like you said, it's probably because they're distracted.
They're probably distracted. But we've had instances where we think that's happened to us, where we've definitely got tips.
And that whole situation, I actually talked about how on the last episode, how we were at 360 Vegas Vacation 4, and I had a similar situation where I tried to roll. One of the dice went to the other side of the table, but then one of them just dropped right in front of me. Now, the reason I picked it up, maybe I didn't really...
You probably didn't even give them a chance to call it. You probably just picked it up.
Right. See, this is the thing. I don't want to give the casino a free roll. I don't want to give them a chance where if it was a 7, they call a 7, and if it wasn't a 7, they say no roll.
Right.
I don't want to give them that chance. So that's why I picked it up right away.
Right. Well, I wonder, this box man that he's talking about, if it had not been the come out, had it been in the middle of a roll, and especially a big roll, would he said, 7 out?
Yeah.
Or would he say no roll?
Right. Maybe it works. Maybe they give you a free roll in that case, but I don't want to risk that. So
right. But in any way, it sounds like they're treating him pretty nice.
Yes.
Because, they could have easily said no roll, which is usually the call on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll hear from Patrick a little bit later on in the show also. All right. Let's hear from Kurt.
Hey, guys. It's Kurt from Michigan. First time calling. I love the podcast. Just got a quick vent story. Playing craps at Gun Lake Casino. Just got in the game. I bought in for just $60. I was dropping a buddy off. I decided to play. First shooter, that was okay. I was up $15, $20. Not a big deal. Gets to me. I roll my first roll. It's a hard 12. And so I think, well, it's a hard 12. The only thing I can hit to get it is, hard 12 again. So I tossed out 5s, said hard 12. I was the only person on my end. The dealers were having a conversation. And the dealer put it right on the line between hard 12 and hard 4. I didn't think anything of it. And next roll, when you know it, roll a hard 12. And I'm thinking, holy crap. Put $5 out on hard 12, and I just hit it 30 to 1, 150. That's awesome. And they go, no, that's not a hard 12. That's a bet on hard 4. I'm like, no, I didn't. Went back and forth with them. Each dealer, one guy said, I think you said hard 12. The box man and the stick man both said, no, you said hard 4. And I'm like, why would I bet hard 4 when my number is hard 12? I'm going to take a shot on the hard 12. And it went back and forth and brought over the pit. Fiddler goes, well, I got 2 guys saying you put a hard 4. And Milo said, I didn't win my argument. They didn't pay me off. Ended up next roll, trapped out. I was so fierce at that point, I just picked up the last, and then it was one of those things.
what are you going to do? I thought I had a valid point. I clearly stated I was right next to the stick man. They disagreed, didn't want to pay me the $150, so I took my money and left. I would avoid going there. The dealers, they weren't very friendly to begin with. And like I said, they're having a conversation all to themselves. So any of our fellow listeners that live in Michigan, probably find another place to play craps than Gun Lake Casino. Keep up the great work, guys. I love it. Have a good one. Bye.
So a lot of the details of Kurt's story are a little confusing. There's no such thing as a hard 12. A 12 is just a 12 because there's no easy 12. And it almost sounded like it was his point that he was betting on.
So that's what I was thinking. Is he playing crapless craps?
Crapless craps, or did he mean hard 6? Or because then he said there was a 7 out after the 12 came up again. Plus, like a 12 is not
30 to 1,
right?
So.
But he did say that. That's why it's confusing. But at the same time, a 12 is not generally next to a hard 4 on the table.
Right? They're
anyway,
not even close.
Regardless of any of that, the point was really that these dealers did not take care of him.
Right.
And it's something
they should have just paid him.
I agree. Just
no matter what the deal was here,
right? And
just pay the guy.
That's just a culture at that casino, apparently,
right.
where they won't give you the benefit of the doubt. And it's another reason to on the layout. He said he didn't think much of it where they placed the bet.
Right.
You do have to question them sometimes, and even that can be a pain because when you question them, then suddenly they get all bent out of shape. And
right.
So,
even dealers that we know, and I've questioned something, and sometimes I'm wrong.
Sure.
But I just question it anyway.
Sure.
And all they have to do is say, "No, Mike, look at this," and then I'm always like, "Okay."
Yeah, you're right.
But if I'm right and they're wrong, sometimes they get a little.
I know.
Little antsy. I was like, "Wait a minute, he's just trying to get things straight."
That's
here.
right. You're just trying to get to an unfortunate situation. Yeah, and it's too
I
bad.
do like the name Gun Lake Casino.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're playing craps and you're at Gun Lake, that sounds cool.
That does sound cool.
Maybe that's the best thing about that casino is the name.
Maybe. Can you get out alive? That's the question, right? Can you?
Yeah, I played at Gun Lake. You should see the other guy.
All right, next call.
Yeah, hi guys. It's Al from Ontario. Just checking in. Just want to say that I'm a recent convert to your podcast, and I think I subscribed to quite a few of them, but yours is the number one. I always look forward to getting new episodes, and I recycle through the old ones, and I certainly do enjoy your product. Anyway, I just wanted to, I'm a Vegas regular. I've been going to Vegas for 30 years now, and I've seen a lot of changes over the years, and I'm a low roller. Senior citizen, and just want to give you some of my thoughts on places to stay and places to gamble. I think my favorite place to stay when I'm in Vegas is the Four Queens. I like the Four Queens, centrally located. I don't tend to do much gambling at the Four Queens, but I do enjoy it, and I like to play poker, so I play a bit of poker across the street there at Minions, and just for the atmosphere, I love that. Do a little craps on the other corner over there at the Fremont that I find they have some favorable crap games and nice atmosphere and everything in there. And I really like the Paradise Buffet at the Fremont there. I think that's one of the best kept secrets around. I never hear anybody talking about it, but it's amazing, amazing buffet. And I'd like to take advantage of that. And another thing I want to bring up is if you have some wheels and you don't mind a half-hour drive, I really like the Gold Strike Casino. I think they're in Jean, Nevada. That's an amazing place. They're very, very favorable with the comps. They have some low-limit craps going all the time and $2 blackjack and things like that. So it's a great low rollers casino. Nothing fancy. It's not Bellagio or anything like that, but it's a great casino, and I always try to get out there to play some craps, and that's about all we have to go over, but I've got a lot of history in that in Vegas, and if you ever want to give me a show sometime, happy to talk to you sometime offline about some of the things changes that have happened in Vegas over the years, and what I miss about the old days playing dollar blackjack
Thanks, Al. He got cut off there at the 3-minute mark.
Yeah.
The Gold Strike, so for those not familiar, it is about halfway between State Line and Las Vegas.
Very close to halfway.
In Jean, Nevada, that's the only thing there. It's just there by itself.
I don't even know why it's named Jean. I mean,
it's probably named after somebody.
Yeah, but I mean, is it a real town?
Well, it's a town. I mean,
it's just the Gold Strike. It's the only thing there, right? There used to be across the street.
There was another one, right? But isn't the prison also right there?
There is a prison there. Yeah, the prison's right there.
You know what else they have a Gold Strike? I don't know if they still have it. The Batmobile from the TV series.
They did, yeah. They used to have that.
Next time
we haven't stopped there in a long time.
Well, we haven't driven there for a long time. Next time we'll have to stop there just to get a picture taken with the Batmobile.
Now, did Al say where he's from?
Canada.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Well, because he's driving, so I just wondered.
Oh, well, if you have a car, he was saying he drives out that way.
Oh, he drives
from Vegas
out and then back.
Okay. Right.
I'd like to see what Al thinks about going to Laughlin.
Oh, yeah.
Because all these places, like Four Queens and Binions and Fremont, Gold Strike.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's Laughlin too.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right. So I wonder if he's gone to Laughlin because it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's a good question. Well, it's great information about downtown, especially the Paradise Buffet at Fremont. Yeah, I never hear about that.
No.
We've never eaten there. Nobody, I can't remember anybody ever talking about it. So that is good news to hear. Yeah, the Four Queens, that used to be our
we hung out there
home
a lot.
base.
Yeah.
You know what it was? Back
we got a lot of offers.
And what it was, too, there was a junket here in town, a travel agent. This was back in the 90s, where you would pay up front, and then all you had to do was play 4 hours at a $5 blackjack table, and they'd refund your airfare.
Right.
So
in a weekend, I mean, we did that the first night.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So, man, that was great. So that's how that kind of became our home base. Right. Yeah, we used to stay down there all the time.
Yeah, we liked the Four Queens.
Yeah.
I still kind of do.
Kind of.
I wish they had more craps tables. They have 2.
Yeah.
And sometimes only one's open.
Yeah.
And their rules aren't particularly favorable.
No, for downtown,
but for some reason, I've always liked playing there.
Yeah,
I don't know what
we spent so much time there. Yeah, I believe it. All right, we got a math call from Steve.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Steve from outside Chicago with a little bit of playing card trivia that I came across. It is the number of ways that a standard 52 card deck can be arranged. The number is so large, it's almost inconceivable. It is truly astronomically large. It's approximately the number 8 followed by 67 zeros. A number so large it doesn't even have a name. To put it in context, the universe was thought to have started around 13.8 billion years ago. So if you started shuffling a deck of cards at the Big Bang, reshuffled every second since, we would still be millions of years away from finding every possible permutation of cards. It's just a shockingly large number. The upshot is, if you're holding a fairly shuffled deck of cards, it is very likely you are holding a unique object in the history of the universe, something that has never before existed. And if you shuffle them again, it's likely the previous shuffle will never exist again. It really is an interesting, insanely large number. The math for the geeks is called 52 factorial. It's 52 times 51 times 50 times 49 and on until you get to times 1. The ultimate upshot is, for the conspiracy fans who think that Shuffle Master is out to get you, they're really not. It's, in fact, the universe. A large number and a fun stat and something to think about as you're being dealt cards. You are probably holding a unique object in the history of the universe. Good stuff.
And the end of the call there, it was a little choppy. I didn't do any editing there. I don't know if something got cut off or I don't know what, but we got the gist of it. Well, to take Steve's call even further,
let's talk. Well, you and I anyway knew it's 52 factorial.
52 factorial, sure.
I just want to make one quick comment to Steve. Okay. He has not met my daughters.
No, he hasn't.
No, because when they shuffle,
yeah. What's the same every time, or what?
You get a lot of repeats. It's the same. I'm like, shuffle those cards. Yeah, because it's like
you didn't touch.
Yeah, nothing happened. We have a problem with that in our house.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah,
so you got to work on that.
When you play blackjack and you go through the deck and then you go through it again and you get the exact same hands, it's like, okay, I know what to do here because I know what you got.
I'm sure you can turn them around because when we were at your house the other night and they had this wide shot of Vegas.
Right.
You said, hey, what's this building over here? And one of your daughters immediately said, oh, that's the Rio.
Yeah, right. My 13-year-old daughter, they have a sky view of Vegas. And I said, what do you think that purple building is? And it's the Rio. Mark high-fived me.
I think I actually shook your hand, too. I was that impressed. Not just a high five. Well, to take Steve's call a little further, if you're talking about a 52-card deck when it comes to blackjack, the combinations are actually not as many because suit doesn't matter. Number one.
Right.
So ace of spades is the same as ace of hearts. So if they're, interchanged, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Also, all the tens and face cards are the same when it comes to blackjack.
Right.
So the total combinations, is at least as far as blackjack is concerned, are fewer.
Right.
However, you introduce more decks.
Yeah, you got 6 decks.
8 decks.
Right.
Then you're talking about an astronomical beyond the 52 factorial.
Yeah,
It's
you've never
ridiculous.
seen 8 decks shuffled the same.
That's right. You've never seen it.
Yeah.
Except, remember that happened at Baccarat once? There was this company that was supplying like these 8 deck shoes, and they were all in the same order.
They were in the same order.
And the players picked up on that. So anyway, good. Thanks for the call, Steve. All right, let's hear from our good friend Todd.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, it's Todd from Minnesota. I want to tell you about my dream come true. I finally have my craps table, which is bar none the coolest thing I've ever bought.
Yes,
I ordered it from the website www.thebestpokersite.com, and wow, is it beautiful once I got over the smell. It's actually a combination table. It's got a Pai-Gow poker layout, which fits perfectly over the tub for when we want to play cards. But back to craps. I had them customize the layout for what I thought works best for my casino parties milieu. I had them change the field to pay triple on the 12, and I know Dr. Mike will appreciate this. It also has both the all tall small and the fire bet. I think I might have the only craps table in existence with both the all small tall and the fire bet. I had them print the fire bet payouts based on 3, 4, 5, or 6 winning points, since I'm just playing for fun mostly with my friends and figured the 3-point fire bet is a little more friendly. I actually hosted a party last night for the Mayweather fight, and we did have 2 3-point fire bet winners. Too bad there just physically isn't room for the repeater bet too. Oh, there was an error on their stock layout that I'm glad I spotted before they sent it to print. The 2, 3, 11, and 12 were listed at 30 and 15 4-1 instead of 2-1. I know that's kind of picky, but I wanted to make sure it was perfect. It's an 8-foot single dealer layout, and I'm very happy with how it looks. I posted a few pictures to the Craps Facebook group. So if you're ever up in the Minneapolis area, stop over, check it out. Thanks for the podcast. Love the show. Bye.
Yeah, you saw this table too, right, Mike? It's a beautiful
emailed
table.
me the table, and I'll tell you, Mark, I looked at it. Yeah. I clicked on my phone. I'm sitting in my. I thought about it all day.
Yeah,
just so Todd knows.
Gorgeous
all
table.
day. I thought, oh my God, what a great table.
Yeah, it really.
I mean,
is.
it looked nice. It looked really professional and everything. Yeah. And the thing about it is, I think he's got this in his house. It's not in the garage or anything. He's got this in his house.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'd never get anything done.
I know, it was great. And you used to have a table, but it was too big. I mean, it was too big. His is a much better size.
Yeah, this was a full-size thing. And, you can only keep it in the garage. You can't have that in your house.
Right, yeah.
Not until the kids are gone.
I'll ask Todd, but I'll probably post a picture, too, in our show notes.
Yeah, that was a great table. And, I mean, he's living the dream.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean, he's really living the dream.
Well, and, his wife, Amanda, gave him a present of fire bet markers.
Yeah.
Right? And a bunch of lammers and everything. So he is all set.
Yeah.
I will...
Todd, I mean, come on. This is your year. This is your year.
It's funny. He talked about that error that he found there, the 30 for 1, the 15 for 1. Yeah. I think they've got that same error on the tables at Harrah's Las Vegas.
I think they do, too.
I think I've got that same problem.
It pisses me off every time I go in there. I see that same error.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
No, I know.
You can walk across the street to
Caesar's
any
Palace,
other
same company, and it
doesn't have
it here. Yeah. I think we did have a caller once tell us that he saw a table with the fire bet and the all small tall.
We did have a deal. We've never seen that.
We've never seen it. So it may exist out there in the world, but we've certainly never seen it.
Probably at Todd's.
Yeah. So congratulations, Todd. All right, let's hear from Wendell.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Wendell from North Texas here in Denton. I was coming back from Windstar World Casino. I was going to give you a quick trip report, even though, we go here often. It was a good trip. We went up there Friday night, came back today, Sunday. Friday night, I got one of my favorite hands. I got 4 aces with the kicker for $1,000. So I was playing 50 cents, so that was awesome. And then Saturday night, I hit another 4 aces without the kicker, though, so it was 400. So I'm basically left around 1,300 up for the weekend, so I call that a win. Now I head back to Denton. Maybe we can get you guys to WinStar World Casino one time in Oklahoma. That'd be fun, because, the Denton Dallas and Beyond guys live around here. And we got the Vice Lounge guys down there one time. So anyway, think about it if y'all are ever there in the area. And I'll see you at the Summit in a few weeks.
All right, yeah, see you soon. We'll be honest with you, Wendell. Maybe we'll get to WinStar one day if we're passing through, but those antes that you have to pay on the table games.
Yeah, that would kind of irk me.
Sure, we could play video poker, slots, or whatever, but geez, at craps and blackjack, you got to pay this ante up front. That's a little steep. So
I wish they would get rid of that.
Yeah, I wish they would too.
I just don't see the need for it, right?
Yeah, well,
they still make plenty of money.
That's the way the law was written, so it's too bad.
I imagine someday I'll be in that area. I have relatives all throughout
so maybe,
Texas. So
I'm sure we'll get there.
I'm going to be visiting somebody, and I'm going to stop in there. But
yeah. All right, let's hear a follow-up call from Patrick. Now, Patrick talks about this crap system, and I'm pretty sure he misspoke at one point. I listened to the call over and over, and I think I figured out what happened. So I'm going to stop the call where I think there was a mistake, just to kind of make it clear.
Okay.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Patrick from Washington, D.C. calling again. I just want to say, hey, I had a great weekend playing craps at the MGM once I made it to a hot table. Prior to that, though, I was able to stay above water playing a combination of systems. I was wondering if you'd ever heard of it or what your thoughts were of it. Basically, what I did is I would make a $50 pass bet. Once the point is made, I would bet $50 on that number as well.
Okay, I think what he meant to say was he made a $50 don't pass bet.
Okay.
And then placed that same number for $50. Because the way he said it's like, well, why not just take odds? And as you hear the rest of the call, it'll become clear. So I think what he's saying is $50 on the don't pass, and then once a point's made, place it for the same amount, $50. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, okay.
And then I would go into the 5-count system. If the shooter didn't hit the point by the 5th roll, I would take down the bet I'd place on the point number, then hope for the 7 out, and generally that happened quite a bit. If the shooter hits the point or 7's out prior to the 5th roll, then I'd either break even or, win a few bucks, $6 or $7, something like that. I mean, it worked very well, particularly, it was a choppy table very early on when I started playing, and lots of people were losing lots of money. Yeah, I just wonder what your thoughts are on that, if that's a viable system or not, or maybe I just got lucky. Bye. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, that's fine. Just keep in mind that all of these systems where you're counting the number of rolls to either, not make a bet until a certain number of rolls have happened or to take bets down, there's nothing mathematically to back that up, right? A 7 is just as likely to come up on any other roll. It can help you, those kinds of counts, limit your exposure to a negative EV game. I understand that. That's fine.
Right.
But if, a shooter's going and 5 rolls have gone by and he hasn't made his point, that doesn't mean he's any more or less likely to make his point than he was, as soon as he established the point.
Right.
So.
And I think the point to be made here is that you're limiting your exposure on a game where you're most likely going to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
And so, that's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
It's just, do you want to do that?
Right. And the worst case scenario for playing this way is that a shooter makes his point at his 6th roll or longer.
Right.
Because then you lose the don't pass and you've taken your place bet down.
Right.
Because if the point is made before the 5th roll or it's 7 out, like you said, you break even or you win a little bit. And then if a 7 out comes later, you win. So it's like any other system. If you enjoy playing it, that's fine. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. All right. You want to find out how Ryan did at State Line?
Yes. Come on, Ryan. Come on. Double your money, Ryan.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, this is Ryan again. Just left Buffalo Bills and there for about an hour and a half. Didn't go too well. Everything I won in Vegas, I just gave the State Line, so they're happy, I'm sure. But it's all right. I had fun. I had a good weekend. I had fun doing it. That's what gambling's about, right? If you're doing it, you're only in it for the money and you're not having fun, then you probably shouldn't be gambling. One thing I wanted to say that reminded me, I was laughing really hard when I was in Vegas because there was this older guy playing blackjack next to me, and I asked him how he did at the other table because he was buying back in, and I saw him at the other table, and he said, well, I didn't do very good, and it makes me mad because all those girls dancing around are such distractions that are up on the ceiling hanging from the bars and everything. He said there's such distractions. And it just reminded me of when Dr. Mike's dad said he was getting so distracted because that girl had her sexy butt in his face. I don't know. I just laughed. I thought that was so funny. But overall, good weekend. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, longtime listeners will remember we were in Atlantic City and your dad was playing, I don't know, three-card poker or something like that at Harrah's. We were at the craps table, but apparently there was a woman shaking her sexy butt in front of his face.
All night long.
That's what happens.
I'll tell you what, no matter how old you get, a woman shaking her sexy butt in your face, right in your face, it's distracting.
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction.
There's no question about it.
You've got to be pretty. I mean, you might be able to do it, Mark. I get distracted.
I'm laser focused.
Yeah, laser focused.
All right. Well, on the last episode, we asked people to send us Ask a Dealer questions. We really haven't gotten much of a response. We only have a few questions here. I know that, like Vito, for example, on his podcast, he interviewed a dealer and he's interviewed the annoyed pit boss.
Right.
So a lot of these questions have already been answered. So, if we get more questions, great. We'll try to do this segment again sometime in the future. But if
you
got
and I should
them,
sit down and probably think.
Oh, I'm sure we could come up with a few. Yeah, if we wanted to
ours
do it
might not be repeatable, but
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Here we'll have a special podcast, right?
Yeah.
For you have to
in person. We'll tell you the answer.
There
to that.
you go. That makes more sense. All right, some things that are coming up. First of all, this weekend is 360 Vegas Vacation 5. We are not able to make it, but good luck to everybody who's going
Holiday
on that.
Weekend.
Yep, Labor Day, right? It starts on Sunday, goes through Tuesday. So everybody have a good time with that group. We certainly had a good time with them at Vegas Vacation 4.
I hope they all win.
Yep. And then the summit is coming up. Hunter has posted the full schedule now for the summit, which is going to be the weekend of October 12th, and we're going to be arriving. I think we're going to try to get there Thursday morning.
Yeah. So we'll have Thursday pretty much free because nothing really starts till Friday.
Right. And then we're going to leave Sunday in the afternoon. People have been asking if we're going to have a meetup this time, like a craps meetup. We probably won't. The nice thing about last year was we actually had a casino host contact us about setting something up.
Well, and if somebody did contact us and wanted to do that, we probably would.
Maybe we could, but we got such a turnout there. Luckily there was they were able to open another table, to get it up there. Anyway, no plans right now, but of course we're going to be on Twitter and we're going to be, we'd love for you to join us on the fly.
We'd love everybody just to join us. Yeah.
But a couple of things about the summit. Now, one thing they're not going to have this year is the Hangover Cup. Which, I was kind of looking forward to, but at the same time, it'll probably save us money, especially after my bonehead move at the last one.
Right,
so.
It will save us money, no doubt about that.
But a couple things that are coming back, they are going to have a Sigma Derby tournament, and they're going to have a slot tournament like they did last year. I know you were really thinking that's a great thing.
I thought the slot tournament was fun.
Yeah. Another thing too, Mike, you probably didn't hear about this before, but we're going to have priority access to get our pictures taken with the Stanley Cup.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's probably something we're going to want to do, right?
Can we actually touch it?
Well, I don't know about touching, but we're going to be in the vicinity of it. So we'll try to take advantage of that. And then, of course, the main event is that Saturday night with 500 by Midnight and that whole crew, and they have a bunch of other stuff going on. So check out VegasNerdSociety.com for the full details on that. Also coming up, now Doug over at Epic Esquire has started to organize a trip for Connecticut casinos the weekend of April 20th. And so that's kind of when we're planning on going. I think our plans are now that we are going to go, at least
we're thinking about maybe like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Maybe Friday and
fly in Thursday, maybe
fly in Thursday, maybe do a red eye Wednesday night, just because, I mean, we're not going to, this might be our only trip there. So
I'll tell you that red eye's hard because you're so tired when you get there.
Maybe not. Anyway,
you can sleep on the plane.
So that's going to be April 20th. Fine. Go ahead.
Well, and also I should mention, I am going to be at the Horseshoe Southern Indiana on March 10th, the weekend of March 10th.
Okay,
my wife's niece's daughter is getting married.
Oh, okay, great.
On the 10th. That's a Saturday.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be there Thursday or Friday. We'll definitely be there Friday.
Okay.
So we probably fly in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll either fly out Sunday night or Monday morning.
Nice. Now, do you have any offers that you've been getting from them that you'll be able
I
to
get
use?
So many offers from them, and I've been watching. None of them are that far in advance.
Okay, right.
And I pray to God they don't stop the offers.
Wouldn't that be funny, right?
But I have like 3 experience trips from Harrah's that I have to use.
Oh, that's right.
So one of them I'll use that trip, and it'll be like $500 and rooms for the weekend and all that. But anyway, so I definitely will be there. So all those people out there who live in the southern Indiana,
Kentucky
Louisville,
area.
Kentucky, anywhere in that area, I will be at that casino probably every night. Maybe not that Saturday night because that's the wedding.
Sure.
But probably before that, earlier in that day, and maybe later that night.
It's like, when is this reception going to end?
Right. Well, we're staying at the casino. I mean, I can't just walk up to the room. I mean, I got to walk over to the boat.
Okay. All right. And finally, Vegas Fanboy, we hardly knew ye. His last episode is actually going to post on the same day as this episode posts.
Oh, okay.
On Thursday, and it's his last episode. Luckily, we got to meet him last year
He is, for
Vimp.
people who haven't met him, he is a wonderful,
great guy.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, super guy.
I mean, you know, really easy to talk to, very nice guy.
Yeah. So we hate to see him go. He's still going to have a presence on the internet, of course, but the Vegas Fanboy podcast is going away. So this will be the last one. Make sure
tweets from Vegas Fanboy.
Well, you may still get some tweets. We'll see. We'll see how he does it. He probably will.
You know,
he probably will.
Yeah.
But it'll cut back quite a bit. But anyway, everybody listen to his final episode. Again, it's going to post the same day as this episode posts. So we haven't heard it yet either. So anyway, congratulations to him, and we're sorry to see him go.
Adam, because I mean, he really, I mean, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely.
I like his.
It was
there's
a great show.
A lot of, not just gambling, but a lot of things I don't enjoy. Right? And so I don't, but I really have enjoyed his
show. So. Yeah, great. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, recurring donation from Brian and Sarah. Thank you very much. Also, a donation from J and K. They said, karma donation for our upcoming Las Vegas trip. Thanks for the great show. Thank you, J&K. And finally, another Brian for a PayPal donation. We really appreciate it. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love to get your feedback. All right, Mike, what do you got?
Well, you know, I was just thinking, I saw a tweet from Al in San Diego saying there were 45 days till...
It just said 45 days.
It said 45 days, something
right.
like that. And I knew he meant to the summit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's coming up quick.
I know.
I am kind of excited about that. So people ask, do you get excited about, I am.
Yeah.
For one thing, we get out of town.
Yes.
Because when we go to Harrah's, we spend 6 hours.
It's different.
We come home, we're exhausted the next day.
Yeah.
And if we've lost, the next day's kind of crappy.
Yeah.
If we've won, the next day's wonderful.
Yep, that's right.
But I am excited to go there.
Yep.
And then in March, I've got the Indiana trip, and then we're going to go to Connecticut. Finally, we're going to Connecticut. Things are on the upswing for us.
I know. But, as you're saying this, Mike, it occurs to me, we have our flight reservations for the summit, but we still don't have our hotel rooms.
Yeah, she didn't get those.
No, so we're definitely going. We just don't know where we're staying.
I think we're staying at Planet Hollywood.
I think so too, but she hasn't gotten back to us yet.
I'm going to have to get back to her on that. Well, I need to talk to her about Indiana anyway.
Okay.
So we're going to have to do that this week. Remind me this weekend to do that.
That sounds good.
And the other thing is, so from now on, people will be easily able to recognize you and I, because we're going to be the two guys walking into the casino like we've got a huge sack between our legs.
Okay. So that's how we should just enter the casino from now on.
Yeah, if you're in the casino and you see two guys walking in that, look kind of nerdy and everything, but really look like they got a big sack between their legs, that's us.
Should I look pained? It's like,
it depends on what you got in the sack.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.